Orale, bienvenidos and welcome to the Familia FFB podcast. This is your host Jorge Martin. Familia, we got a good one today. This one. I think you're gonna like this. We're gonna look into the future a little bit. But first off, before anything, you make sure that you're giving Familia FFB a like and subscribe on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Our numbers have gosh, more than doubled since the NFL offseason started. So thank you. Muchas gracias for joining us. We're going to keep giving you good content like coming up. And also make sure you're going to underdogfantasy.com. Use that promo code Familia23. Best ball drafts are still happening, but there's going to be pick'ems during the season. And then, there's going to be stuff for MLB, NBA, NHL, everything. So you can play fantasy through Underdog Fantasy all the way through year round, actually. And Familia, I had the pleasure. I've had the pleasure of meeting our invitado. It's been a couple months now since we first met. But honestly, you just I've been nothing short of impressed with this process, results, and just we got to spend a little time at the Fantasy Football Expo in Canton, Ohio, and he ended up giving me the origin story for Pharaoh Analytics, and I asked him to come on because I think you're going to love hearing how this company is growing, how it's going to be helping you guys in the sports betting community get out there. I wish California had it, please, before I may have to go across state lines here and there to get my bets in. So I almost always agree with this process. I don't always agree with him batting Mookie Betts fourth for the Dodgers. I will sign up for everything else he's promoting. Bienvenido to Chosen Blakey, mi amigo. Welcome.
Thank you. It's glad to be here. Jorge is a great guy, so this is fun. Let's get into it.
Oh, let's definitely get into it. So, I wanted to. You gave me a little bit of you gave me a lot of the origin story for Pharaoh Analytics, and it's a fairly new company, but so many people are already talking to you, interested in investing and coming aboard. The algorithm that you've built has already given so much success. Tell me how it's kind of maybe reshaping the way sports betting is going to happen.
Yeah, we are a lot of people in the industry right now. They simulate data. We don't simulate any data. We process it. We analyze it. We find a driving factor. It's the difference between saying, "Hey," and if I stick my hand in a bunch of marbles, it's 100 of them, and I grab 57 of them, and you simulate that 1,000 times. That doesn't tell you what marbles you picked up or what's driving you to pick up 57. That's what we find. We calculate the variance, and it spits out money at the top. It's a great process. We're working at it, and our goal is just to keep improving and help show people that you can predict sports at a better rate using data.
So you also, so it's a fairly new company. Can you give me a little bit of kind of the origin story, how really you guys have come about and how you're already starting to make waves?
Yeah, I had an app concept in April. I shopped it around, and then I ended up meeting people at the undroppables.com. It's a content company out in California. I think the owner name is Chalk. He ended up introducing me to my co-founder Josh Lee, who's head of analytics there, and we came together, met at Cleveland at FSGA, and then from there we just turned into a company overnight. And now we're incorporated. We got about 7 people. We're in the process of raising our first round of seed and really building out really good databases that are not on the market right now.
That's how did the name come about?
We use Egyptian math to predict our stuff, and it's true. We don't just say this. The very foundation of statistics in terms of how to approach it, we use it. It's why we call it Pharaoh Analytics.
That's fantastic. So, yeah, I love it. I knew it had. I forgot to ask you about that the other day. So yeah, so using Egyptian math, how does the algorithm work to kind of like see into like really just predict what's for with a high success rate sports betting?
We are able to calculate all the variance in a team's matchup and spit out the data points that are important, and we follow it. It's like we only use the data. There's no human emotion in our element. So we don't have preconceived biases. We don't have recency bias. We eliminate all that, and we just try to find that driving factor.
And that, you know what, that was one thing that when we talked the other day, is taking out that human, that human emotion, which is so important, which actually is the reason why, you know, casinos in Las Vegas and other places
Yeah,
are so large, because
yeah.
people use emotions. How does it kind of, I mean, when you look at it, and if it tells you, if it tells you, hey, you know what, take the, you know, take the Jets against the Bills or something
Yeah.
like that. And even though maybe some things may say no, or maybe you're a Bills fan, how does it help take the emotion out of it?
It's a challenge. I've seen all the outcomes. South Carolina versus Tennessee last year, college football. It spit out Princeton over Arizona, and I said no way, but it hits. And we've seen big upsets. We've seen teams cover large spreads. We've seen different results, and we keep testing it across different sports, across different contests, different mediums. We tried out horse racing this year using an analysis that we actually wrote a whole thread on Twitter about, and we placed in every single horse race, just using the data. Didn't know anything about the horses or anything like that. So I figured that if I can keep applying it to different sports, then it must work, and we get steady percentages across every sport. We're usually around 60%, upwards of 75% in concentrated areas, and we just keep working. We keep adding parameters. We keep adding to the health of it. We keep eliminating our bias. We keep adding our sample size. We keep working, because the whole goal is just to be able to predict and keep putting out good data for users to get access to.
So yeah, I've heard that at 60% is kind of like that benchmark, that you're gonna, that if you're hitting 60%, you're making, yeah, you're making money in sports gambling. When what, I mean, are there any kind of keys, to, you know, that, to turn that, to hit that success rate, to start turning a profit?
Yeah, betting methodology is something that we're open and talking about. We're creating blogs now as we speak. The biggest thing that bettors need to be aware of is taking bets at minus 150 or lower. At a 60 to 64% accuracy clip, you can be profitable if you keep your costs or your odds at that level. You can even be profitable at a higher percentage if, of course, if your odds are increased. So the goal is to either be very accurate or be very profitable. But a lot of times, if you're very accurate, you can learn how to be profitable. So that's the way that we approach sports betting, almost like building it like a 401k, and not trying to go for the flashy or the high dollar amount bets. Just get the low hanging fruit over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's consistency, and I think that I like that theory, and that, and like you said, methodology, because uh, you know, we don't want people to, like, you know, make these, you know, it's like maybe a couple things didn't work, but Monday Night Football says, yeah, it says yes, put the bet down, and then you put a big number down, and the football is, you know, oblong for a reason, and sometimes it
Right.
hits the wrong way, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden the bet doesn't come through.
Right.
You said something really important. You told me something really important the other day, is the algorithm does not spit out uh every game.
No.
So can you talk about the importance
Right.
of not betting every game?
Yeah, so if it's an entire slate out there, if you're not going to take the bet, if it's a low probability not to hit, it's almost like with anything in life. You don't want to just do it because it's there. You want to do it because you're convicted to do it. So when we see a data set and it says, "Hey, take this game because of these reasons," we're like, "Man, we have to be really enticed to actually put investment behind that decision." And we just applied it to sports betting. We only take about 2% of our bankroll, so we minimize our risk or our investment size, and we just try to stay consistent over time. But it's very important not to just bet just because. You have to bet for a reason.
Oh, that's fantastic. And you also talked about kind of like grouping grouping parlays. So not just going for like the 5 game parlay, but maybe doing the extra combinations. Is uh, that I like that. I like that, and that's something that I learned a long time ago. But I want you to share on that one.
Sure. Yeah. We for example, we predicted TCU, Texas, LSU, and Florida to win the College World Series this year. We got three out of the last Final Four teams. Texas lost because they couldn't find the ball in the lights. But Florida and LSU end up playing each other in the championship. And instead of approaching it to where we only want one reality to occur, we approached it to where, okay, here's each reality that's here. Here are the probability percentages of each occurring. If it's close enough to where you have a large enough bankroll, bet them all, because at those odds you're going to be profitable as long as it cover your costs. So we don't try to be right, we try to be profitable, and that's what happened. We took each reality. We're going to do the same thing with NFL division winners and Super Bowls. We're going to take the realities that are likely to occur, all of them,
I love it. No,
pull
and
it
that
together.
and I love that because it's so important to. I mean, how many people and you hear about it every week. I had a parlay and one
Yep.
team didn't come through, and it's just like,
Yep.
but yeah, you get 3 out of the 4 come through. You're still making money. I think you're making money a little bit more than 60% when you get the combos
Exactly.
all together.
Exactly.
So, uh,
Exactly.
and then when all 4 hit, then everybody's eating at everybody's eating at Morton's or a great
Exactly.
steakhouse that night.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I wanted to see kind of like you know, looking ahead to the NFL season.
Okay.
Here we are. We're only a few weeks away from the start of the season. What are some NFL futures that that Pharaoh Analytics algorithm is recommending?
Yeah, we're really big on Dallas NFC East win total, NFC East win for division winner. The algorithm loves the Chicago Bears this year for over their win total. The algorithm doesn't really like Jacksonville this year, so sorry for AFC South guys out there, but it's not on purpose. It's just the data. It's really big on the Titans winning division this year.
Ooh,
The Ravens being the possibly the conference winner or in terms of the number one seed this year in the AFC. So that's kind of like those are the big highlights. I would say Seattle winning the NFC West is another big prediction that the algorithm loves.
and looking at that one, I mean, and it spits out a name, and I could see that because let's talk about the Ravens for a second. Lamar Jackson comes back healthy, Todd Monken offense, and then all of a sudden it's like, everything takes another step forward. He's still a threat to run, but he just takes a step forward as a quarterback. Is that you're nodding your head?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's it. The algorithm doesn't know those concepts, but when it spits out a winner or a power ranking and it aligns with what's actually happening from a real life perspective, we love it. I mean, it makes sense.
And actually, if Dallas wins, it would keep consistent with the NFC East. I think it's been 20 some years that it's been a new team has won the
Right.
division.
Yeah. So you can't. I mean, you can't look at that and be like confidently and say, "I'm still going to bet the Eagles to win this year." I mean, even in 2019, I think the year that they won the Super Bowl, the following year they didn't win the division. So
That's true. That
yeah,
is true. And even
yeah.
the Bears, I mean, their number. I'm looking up their number real quick right now. Or what number did they have?
I think they're at a 7. I think we have them at like closer to 10 wins.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well, that just means it's that from people in the fantasy community and also the betting community, that it's like, hey, you know what? Justin Fields takes that step forward, and
Takes a step forward. DJ Moore, Aaron Rodgers leaves NFC North. That has a direct correlation to that environment, to where Chicago now has a better chance to beat Green Bay. I mean, they weren't beating them before. Now they have a even playing field, we think. So that goes into the algorithm.
oh, that's fantastic. And Seattle on the other side, so many people are just giving the NFC West to the 49ers, but uh, uh, Seattle made some improvements. Jackson Smith and Jigba. And then you've also got Zach Charbonnet, and they fortified their defense. So I could see that. I
There's
could
a
see that, man.
there's not a lot of credit with Jimmy Garoppolo leaving. This is a guy that took them to the Super Bowl, multiple playoff wins. So him leaving does have a ripple effect. Brock Purdy's health is not for certain. Neither his performance. I know everyone likes to say, "Hey, he did this, this, and this," but 7 games there, he played well in the playoffs. But people have data on him now, and when you have data on something, you can predict it. Uh, there are going to be a lot more teams prepared for his up and coming season, and San Francisco does have an injury bug. We're not wishing any injuries, but they do experience injuries quite often out there. So we think there's a lot of variance in their schedule, and that Seattle's going to capitalize off of that.
Yeah, I mean, George Kittle is, he's nursing something right now, and Brock Purdy, I'm until he's actually in a game and throwing it and looking good, I'm still kind of holding my breath for him. So I hope, but yeah, I don't know if I can see that one yet. Any other surprising over unders?
Um, I mean, I guess Jacksonville, if you're
Yeah.
expecting them to win the AFC South, it likes Denver a lot this year to make the
Ooh.
playoffs. The Broncos, we do think there's going to be an influx of points there. Pittsburgh as well, it likes, and it does think Green Bay and the Falcons are going to be solid this year, as well as the Saints and
Ooh,
possibly
yes.
even possibly even the Rams.
You warm my heart there, my friend. You warm my heart, mi amigo. Their win total, I believe, was 6 or 6.5 or 7.
Yeah, which is relatively kind of high for a team that doesn't expect to be good. So we have them closer to 9 this year.
Well, you know what? It's like you got Matthew Stafford, who's been healthy and playing well. You keep him upright, he's going to be fantastic. We know Cooper Cup. Once he gets past that hamstring injury, which is not expected to keep him out of time, and you still got number 99.
Right.
He's
Still
that man is
still there.
that is a bad man. He's gonna
Yes, he
he's gonna get
is.
home. He's gonna get home 20 times, and there's gonna be a bunch of other times that he's gonna become close and making somebody throw the ball quickly. So,
I agree.
um,
I
no,
agree.
I could see that. I could see that. And you know what? Even it's funny, with the young quarterbacks, Jordan Love with Green Bay and Desmond Ritter with Atlanta, they're kind of unknowns a
Unknown.
little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Patrick Mahomes was an unknown 5 years ago, and look what he did.
True. Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of the old guys that were running the NFC are gone. Brady's gone. Rogers is gone. Wilson's gone. So Breeze is gone. There has to be somebody to replace those guys.
No, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Any other? So you got the conference champion prediction for potentially for the Ravens. As that one. Do we have a conference champion on the NFC?
Dallas. Dallas.
Dallas. Wow. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that Super Bowl? Anything with Dallas is going to be nuts, right?
Right. Yeah. Dallas. Dallas. Yes. Dallas looks like they have the easiest route to win the NFC this year.
Wow, and you know what? That's from a fantasy side, that's going to make all the people who have Tony Pollard and CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott. You're making some people very, very happy, mi amigo. Very.
Yeah. Dallas is projected to score a lot of points. I think the number one of the hottest teams this year in terms of points. So yeah, draft a bunch of Lamb and Pollard, I would think, or Prescott.
Any other teams that are expected to score a lot of points this year?
Yeah, Steelers, the Saints
Ooh.
Saints for some reason, the Packers, the Broncos, Ravens, the Bills, the Chiefs.
Wow. So I mean, some are predictable, but yeah, I mean
Yeah,
the Packers and the Steelers. I mean, with young quarterbacks taking over. I know the Saints. A lot of the talk is they've got a pretty easy schedule this year, and
they
obviously the
do.
NFL.
They do. They do
Yeah. How much does schedule play a part in this?
a lot. schedule a lot. I mean, it can you can you can you can literally schedule an easy route like the Eagles had last year, or you can have a tougher route. Yeah, schedule is huge in betting, huge.
Oh man. And you know what? Doing something like this right now, does it I mean, it's hard to predict weather, which can be which can be very strange in December and January for those kind of games. But does it in any way take into account potential weather affecting, like in Ohio or the Northeast or something like that?
I mean, weather affects the points for sure, and it affects fantasy, but sometimes it doesn't even affect fantasy. But it affects fantasy more than it affects the outcome of a game. If a team was supposed to win and the weather's there, they're just going to win. They're just going to win at a lower point total.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, okay. So do we have a Super Bowl pick between Ravens
Not
and
that
Cowboys?
well, Ravens and Cowboys, when I mean by win the
Or-
conference, I mean like they're the number one seed, not necessarily
Okay.
they actually go to the Super Bowl. We're working on Super Bowl picks right now, but the consensus that the model is finding is Kansas City again, going there again. So
Hey, it's one more reason for me to put Patrick Mahomes into the keywords so that we get it so that hopefully so that YouTube algorithm will actually say, hey, you know what, let's boost this one a little bit more. So yes, YouTube algorithm, please put forward Patrick Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes, Patrick Mahomes. Get it? Yeah, let's get this. Let's get this. Yeah, it's it's so hard to actually. I mean, he's that man. He is that
yeah,
man.
yeah.
Um, I wanted to ask about kind of like success stories in other sports. Baseball is happening right now, and you've had, and the algorithm has had itself a pretty nice season, right?
Yeah, 67.4%, over 330 bets, focusing on hits, strikeouts, money lines, and spreads. So we're not taking bets like under triples or under home runs. No, you can actually make money off of betting how likely someone's going to get a hit. So yeah, it's been great this year. Very great.
Oh man. See, that's why Mookie Betts has to, when you get the over bets going on, he gets that extra trip he gets that fifth at bat, guaranteed that fifth at bat, maybe not always in the fourth spot. So
Right. Yeah. No, we love Mookie. He spat out bets a couple of times, and he's homered a couple of those games. So shout out to Mookie Betts for sure.
Salud number 50. Oh, yeah, he does not have to buy
It,
the
it
drink.
it's it likes JD Martinez often too. We get those with him and David Peralta. So shout out to those guys.
Those guys both had a resurgence this year, with the Dodgers. And JD, especially anytime he's going up against a lefty, has just been lethal. And Peralta, yeah, and on the other side, he's been really good. So yeah, this Dodger team has actually kind of surprised me a little bit. Are there predictions at this point for who's going to come out of the American League and the National League?
We're gonna have those live probably in September, right before the playoffs start. So yeah, we got to come back on here and do a baseball show for sure. Yeah, we'll
Oh,
have those ready.
okay, okay. So what, late September we'll do that. We'll do a show, and I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Yes,
Yep.
yes. Well,
Yep.
we'll be in the heart of football season, but it's fine. I'm always up to talk a little baseball. Does it on the baseball side? So why is it that, I mean, the money lines I could see, and especially getting a good payout, if is there a trend that you're seeing there? Is it home teams or is it pitcher specific? Anything that any trends you see there?
In terms of like the batters,
It could be the batters or just the bets themselves. Would have been the predictions? Any particular
um,
trends?
nothing. It's almost like control randomness.
I love
one
it.
one day it's a batter that we all know, like a Otani or a Judge. The next day it's a Joey Gallo or a Joey Votto. I mean, it's control randomness. Some days the batters I know, some days I didn't even know they were still playing baseball. But we listen to the data and we follow it, and we just keep testing it to make sure it works. But it's working. It's working.
67%. I mean, gosh, I mean, in a controlled kind of way, I mean, following the algorithm, wow, that could turn out a nice payout by the end of the season, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you're able to get the odds that we're getting consistently, like if you're parlaying them together, or if you're live betting, yeah, you can really increase your ROI that way.
And how about other sports that are coming back in the fall? NBA, NHL. I know the your algorithm hits all North American sports. Those two, and I know you're working with what they're with getting ready for the upcoming season. But any success stories from the past season?
Hockey, we were second in the country, ranked on Tally site at 57%. We didn't the playoffs. We had, I think, the Stars coming out, but we did. Who came out? The other division was the Panthers. I think who came out? Florida. I think
Florida
Florida came out.
Panthers. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
and then they
Vegas
got
when they.
crushed. Vegas
Yes.
and Florida, I think. Yeah, so we did see a path for Florida. We were shocked that Vegas beat Dallas, but during the regular season, 57% there. Basketball, same way, about 62% in basketball. Playoffs, we did not see the Heat beating the Celtics in a series. We also didn't see the Lakers losing like that. So it was crazy.
Just when I was like back to watching basketball every night, and then all of a sudden, yeah, the four games that they could all won. Shout out to your partner Wesley, my fellow Laker fan. So salud.
Yeah, that
Uh,
was tough.
but you know
That was
what?
tough.
How awesome is it to be able to kind of look at a game and just be like, and just watch it come in.
Man, it's okay. Great. One of the most surreal stories is watching Kansas City and the Eagles in the Super Bowl. We took Kansas City. We actually predicted that matchup after the Chargers lost to Jacksonville. So we had Buffalo, Philly at first, and then we flipped it to Kansas City once we saw that the Chargers were gone, because we felt like the Chargers were the only team to rival Kansas City that was left in the bracket. So Kansas City, Mahomes is going to the sideline, and I look on my phone and it's plus 7.5, plus 300 on the money line. So I dropped 100 on the spread, 100 on the money line, and Kansas City comes back. So I mean, it's crazy. I've seen it happen in so many sports. Teams down by 2 in the third period in hockey and come back, or college basketball teams down by 10, 15 at halftime and come back. I mean, or teams just completely blow teams out. We took the Diamondbacks yesterday. I think so. It was solid even yesterday. But it's crazy. It makes you not as excited. I don't watch every single game now because we bet so many of them, but it does have wow factors all the time where I'm like, man, this is really happening.
It's almost like, are you familiar with the Back to the Future movies?
Not as much.
Oh, okay. Well, one of them, they went to the future, got a book showing all the Super Bowl winners, and this guy got rich off of winning every bet. So it's almost like you've got that, but
Yeah, I have the book. I definitely have the data. I definitely have the data.
that's, oh my goodness, that's wonderful. I mean, because I had Philly. I crunched my own numbers. I mean, I don't have Egyptian math at my fingertips, but I looked at it, and I did think it was going to be Philly in a close game. But I actually did pretty well in DFS, but because of that game. But how can eventually, as you're able to eventually kind of take this more public, and how could people beyond the sports gambling community, fantasy players, daily fantasy players, how could they maybe kind of latch onto this to kind of set their lineups, do start sit questions, that kind of thing?
Yeah, we plan on partnering. We're in the process of partnering with companies to provide the data for content companies, but as well as launching an app to where consumers can calculate the probability of different player statistics that relate directly to fantasy points. So for wide receivers, being able to find out how many catches Cooper Cup is going to get, week 1, week 2, or whoever they're playing against, and hopefully using that data to empower them to say, okay, Cooper Cup is more likely to be productive this week. He's not as likely. Let me adjust my lineup. Those kind of things are definitely in the pipeline that we're going to be phasing into as a company for sure.
Oh man, that's pretty incredible. Any other player or team centric kind of updates, things that you're looking to kind of build for the future, kind of add to another feather in your cap?
We are launching. We are going to phase into NASCAR. That is
Ooh.
something that's on the pipeline to do in the now. We are building a database where that is going to be consumer facing, to where you can. I can't say all the details, but it's going to be something that is similar to a StatMuse, but from a different angle. So if you can, I wish I could tell, but it's going to be something like that, to where people get just an extra edge to say, okay, this team should win based off of this data, or get better probabilities. That's our goal. Give people tools and probabilities to make better decisions, to make
Yeah.
more accurate or likely decisions.
Well, I love it. I mean, and me, I like to open my presents, my Christmas presents on Christmas morning. So I can be patient. I know there's some people out there, some of the familia might want, but hey, you know what? Paciencia, it's coming. So
Yeah,
this
we
will be
have
fun.
a website. It has a landing page where people can subscribe and get the upcoming information and products and partners that we're launching with. So by all means, find us on pharaohanalytics.com or at Twitter, and sign up and get ready for the sports data revolution.
Absolutely, familia. Well, chosen. I always love to close out with a fun food kind of question. So, your neck of the woods. Is there what's the best Mexican food? One of some of your favorites in your neck of the woods.
Oh man, I'm a very, very vanilla basic guy. So I like vanilla ice cream, cheese pizza. I love grilled chicken tacos with, either corn or flour tortilla with a little bit of onions and cheese, man. Just simple. That way I can taste the chicken, and that's my favorite right there. I can't go wrong with a good set of grilled chicken tacos.
Oh yeah, that's good. A little pollo asado. It's good. It's good living. Good living. I like that you're changing up the tortillas. So they're
Yep,
both
yep.
good. They're both good in their own separate ways. Someone the other day was asking me if it was wrong to like flour tortillas. I'm like, no. It's to me they're like a dessert.
Right, right.
They're almost like a dessert, but they're so good. They're so
Yeah,
good. Oh
they
man, amigo.
are.
What anything else you want to give a shout out before we get close up shop?
Yeah, Jorge, thanks for having us on the show. This is great. Really appreciate anything that you need from a data perspective, or that your customers need, or your listeners. Feel free to, reach out to us. We're trying to get everyone to a point to where they can make empowered decisions using data. So we appreciate the opportunity to be on here, and looking forward to seeing you again.
Same here. Same here. I can't wait. Can't wait to see you again. So, hey, I think you'll be flying the plane next time, or have a private jet if more of these bets come through. So, mi amigo, thank you for joining, familia. I hope you learned something. It's going to be yes, maybe it's Dallas and the Ravens, but that man number 15, he may come out. He may come out again. So, once again. Chosen, muchas gracias for joining us, everybody. Thank you for
Thank you.
joining us. More fun stuff coming before the start of the football season. Remember, todos somos familia. Salud.
Thank you.